Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode in a new season of the Seattle Sonics MyNBA series. Last episode was Game 7 of the first round against the Spurs. If you haven't seen that, go check out how it was. But yeah, disappointing result, obviously, if we're in the off season right now, but not a disappointing season. I think we were really good last year, so I'm excited to see what we can do this year. And with some growth for some of our guys and some new additions as well. Shouldn't waste a ton of time, so let's hop into some big things that happened in the offseason, like this one right here, the retirements for this offseason. These are just four of the top guys. There was a lot. As you can see, LeBron has retired. Russell Westbrook, who was a part of our team, he retired as well. Chris Paul retired, and then Klay Thompson. Those four guys are some of the most legendary players in the NBA's history. Obviously, LeBron James might be the most legendary. Russ was unbelievable. Triple-double machine in his prime. Chris Paul, unreal point guard, as they call him. And Klay Thompson, quite possibly the most dangerous, I wouldn't say shooter, but when he's on fire, I don't think anybody can ever get hotter than Klay Thompson. Yes, even Steph Curry. I mean, Klay Thompson hit 14 threes in a game. That is unreal and incredibly hard to do. So these four guys retiring is insane. The guy behind them dunking the basketball as well, Kevin Durant, he plans to retire after this season. Did think about signing him just because, Durant, Sonics, all that stuff. But no, ended up not pulling the trigger on that. Didn't think that would be smart for our franchise's history and our franchise's future and the state of the team moving forward, so didn't end up signing him. But yeah, he's going to be out of here this year. Try and get a game against the Suns. We'll see what happens. But that's some real big stuff that's happened just in this offseason. And nextly, we'll get into what happened in our offseason. So obviously, we lost Russell Westbrook. You can see that on the right-hand side. We also lost Josh Okogie, Baylor Shireman, Haywood Highsmith, and Tristan Vukcevic is also gone as well. But on this left side and in the middle, you can see the guys that are in. Tari Eason, someone suggested that we should pick him up, and I thought that was a great idea. He brings defense. He can hit the mid-range. He's an okay three-point shooter, but that defensive versatility from him, if we put the ball in his hands, who knows what he can do as a scorer. He could be something solid. I don't expect him to be a 20-point-per-game scorer, but he could be something solid. So we pick him up. We also pick up AJ Green, Bones Highland, and Paul Reed. Now, Bones Highland averaged 20 points per game with the Warriors in this past playoff run that went to 7 games. He was their second best player that series, which is insane. We're going to have him come off the bench for us behind Alondes Williams, who's back with us. Got him re-signed. I'll show you in a second. And then AJ Green, add some more shooting. Why not? Why not add more shooting? He is a lethal three-point shooter. They call him Derry Bird for a reason. One of the best three-point shooters in the league, so I'm excited to have him on the team. And then Paul Reed, just some depth at center, kind of a throwaway type player. Who knows if he'll ever play for us. And we also have Nazir Little, but that was a late addition, so Nazir Little on our team as well. I'm always yawning in these videos, like you guys like to point out, but that is our offseason recap. Now, let's take a look at the full team and how some guys have developed. Jordan Hawkins up to an 84 overall. Tari Eason is an 84 overall. I like the way he is. Trey Mann up to an 83. 94 midi, 87-3. Bryce Sensabaugh, I thought about trading him or moving on from him, but we're going to keep him. He had a really good offseason as well. 91 mid-range, 92 3-ball. That is insane. Malawach had a solid offseason, nothing crazy. He developed a little bit. He's got better at shooting. His block is up. We'll see how he plays. Musa Diabate, though, didn't really develop a ton, but he has always been phenomenal for us. Obviously, there's AJ Green here. Alondes Williams, I decided to give him a boost and a new contract. 3 years, $32 million. He looked like a star for us in the playoffs, and at times even a superstar. He was unreal. He was unguardable when heading to the paint unless Wemby was in there to block his shot. So, that obviously makes sense. Wemby's done that to everybody. He just had the most insane playoff run ever. He's up to a 90 layup, 92 dunk. Got his three ball and his mid-range up a little bit. just trying to get him a little bit better than a 72 overall. He played like an 85 or above. But we'll put him at 79. If he continues to play well towards All-Star break, he looks like an All-Star. We'll give him another boost because he won't become an All-Star. And a 79 overall just doesn't happen. Bones here. Deron Holmes got a little bit better this offseason as well. He got that 3-ball up to an 80. He shot like 60% or 50-something% from 3 in the postseason. He was unreal. He has an 85 interior defense. So this guy might be able to play some small ball center for us, which is interesting to see. A.J. Johnson, he had a really nice offseason developing wise. He's got almost an 83-pointer. He's got some good driving attributes and stuff like that. I'm excited to see what A.J. Johnson could become in the future. He will not be our backup. That's Bones Highland, but he'll probably get some run. Nazir Little and then Paul Reed. That's our team. Nothing crazy going on there. We acquired Tari Eason in a flurry of trades. So we traded our first-round pick this season in the draft for Jared Vanderbilt. Then we traded Jared Vanderbilt, a first-round pick, Dante Exum, and a second to the Rockets for Tari Eason, first-round pick, and then a swap. And you may be asking, why would the Rockets trade a young guy, young talented player like Tari Eason? Well, he was promised that he would be either the starting small forward or starting power forward, and that's not going to happen. Cam Whitmore, he developed really well. They want him to start over him. Same thing with Jabari Smith. This team is really nice. They've developed very well. So he's like, well, then just trade me. And they did trade him, and we were the recipient of it. Around the league stuff that happened, we also called up Tyler Smith. That is who we picked up. Tyler Smith has completely disappeared. So that's annoying. So Tyler Smith is just dead, I guess. Michael Porter Jr. was traded to the Bucks. They have an overabundance of small forwards. Bucks needed a small forward, so they pick him up. Marcus Sasser was traded from the Pistons, I believe, for Jakob Poeltl, and then the Bucks traded for Miles Turner. They got Jaden Quintance in the draft, and they decided they don't need him. So around the league, interesting storylines. If we look at the best player in the league, it's obviously Wemby, and then Giannis, Jokic, so forth. This is an interesting year for some teams. Most notably is the Suns, who know that they're not going to have Kevin Durant after this year. So what do you do in that situation? This is his last year with you guys, and man, this roster is god awful. I don't know what they're gonna do. Booker's here. I don't know if he is in a contract year or not. No, he's not. Next year is his last year of his deal. I don't know what they're going to do. It's very interesting. Blazers, they are very bad as well. They haven't developed very well yet. Kings having another bad year. Venom, they got the first pick in the draft, signed AJ Dibansa, who probably played 48 minutes this game. I got to change that. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. also signed with him at 34. They've got a solid little squad here. Spurs, they haven't played yet, but really good development from Castle and Vassell still here. They've signed Dorian Finney-Smith and Yusuf Nurkic. The Jazz lost Jimmy Butler. This team is in full tank rebuild mode. Lakers, no LeBron. They signed Jimmy Butler because why not, I guess. Not really a contender. Wolves, another year of development for Rob Dillingham, and they look okay. They don't really look like contenders either. There's some ugly teams. Warriors signed Shaedon Sharpe. Very interesting to see him go to the Warriors instead of the Blazers. Interesting. They definitely have some guys who are young and could be the future of this team. Steph, I don't know how much longer he has. Pelicans, this is a make it or break it year for them. Ace Bailey, second or third overall pick in the draft last year, is developing a little bit better for him. Clippers, not a great squad, not a young squad either. Just a weird team, really weird team. And then there's us, the Sonics, the Thunder, of course, a phenomenal team. Nikola Topic is developing for them. Jaleel Bethea and Drake Powell are as well. Kassan Wallace is looking really good. This is a serious team, man, a very serious team. Mavericks, this team has won 2 straight championships and they're looking to make it 3. They signed Santi Aldama. This team's got some good talent, good depth, and as I mentioned earlier, the Nuggets had an overabundance at small forward, and this team actually looks really good. AJ Mitchell, Christian Brown, Lauri Markkanen, and Aaron Gordon, Brandon Boston off the bench with some good young defenders and three-point shooters like Julian Strother. Rockets look solid. And then over in the East, the Hornets, I think they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They signed Lonzo Ball. That's funny. They actually just signed Lonzo Ball straight up. I didn't do that for him. This team looks really solid. Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, both over 90 overall. The Pacers, this team looks solid as well. They signed Isaiah Hartenstein. I think that's a really good big for them. And they've got some solid depth and a nice player in Jarris Walker. Wizards, this team looks okay. They don't look like anything crazy. Their young guys are still developing. This team could push for a play-in spot. Celtics, just an incredible roster and just not a good team somehow. I don't really understand that at all. The Grizzlies, this team looks good. They signed Jaden Ivey. Desmond Baines at small forward for them, and then they also have Jalen Duren, so they just snagged some Pistons players. Edey coming off the bench still. This is a really, really interesting team. I would start Jalen Wells if I were them, or maybe G.G. Jackson, but they're not. I'll probably move one of those guys to small forward for him. Pistons, no more Jaden Ivey, but Malik Beasley will start. This defensive duo of Cooper Flagg and Asar Thompson might be game-wrecking. Like, that's an insane duo to have. And then they've just got some nice depth. Tyus Jones, Ron Holland, Isaiah Jackson's pretty good. We'll see how this team plays. I'm pretty sure we faced them first game of the season as well. I don't know if we'll play the first game of the season. We might play the Suns. We'll see how that matches up. Cavs look really solid. You know, just missing a little bit of depth. Why is Marcus Smart bald? Beats me, man. Beats me. The Knicks, they were the first seed last year, ended up losing to the 8th seed in the first round. This is still a great-looking team. We'll see how they play in the playoffs. The Magic, this is another fantastic-looking team. I'm excited to see what they can do this season. The Brooklyn Nets, young team, still developing and doing it the right way. They've got Cam Thomas still here, averaging 25 points per game. He could be a trade target for a team, and same thing with Cam Johnson. Unless this Nets team starts to win, then they'd probably keep those guys on deck with them. The Hawks, this is a really interesting team, but they just aren't doing well. This is a real solid team. Like, Zachary Risache is developing really well. He averaged 17 points per game last year. Jalen Johnson had a bit of a down year in terms of scoring, but everything else he was pretty good. And then Dyson Daniels, of course, is still a depoy level player for them. They just haven't been playing good. The Bulls, they definitely are still lost in what direction they want to go. Just not a great looking team. Buzelis is developing slowly but surely, and maybe he'll get there one day. The Heat, this team is in full tank mode. Jeremy Sohan has signed with this squad, and I don't know what he's gonna do here. I mean, Tyler Hero is here as well. They could look to trade him. He's only 26 years old, so maybe they look to keep him. We'll see what this team does. Raptors, this is a really solid squad that should have went deep in the playoff run, but they didn't. Pretty sure they lost to the Cavs in the first round. Grady Dick got a lot better. We'll see how he plays this year. RJ Barrett's pretty good. It's a really good defensive team with some good offensive creation. Sixers, this team is lost. Embiid has not been good. Paul George is regressing heavily. Jordan McCain's still developing for them and had a really good game to start this season. Maxey as well. This team could push for plan, but we'll see. The Bucks, they made a move, obviously, for Michael Porter Jr. and Miles Turner. We'll see how they turn out. They just don't have any depth at all. This starting five is not bad, though. It just depends on how good Dame will be this season. We know Giannis is going to give them 31 and 12 on 60% shooting. So that's basically a recap of the offseason. That's a recap of all the teams. It's interesting. It is very interesting. What's the first game of the season? It could be October 28th against this Suns team, but I think we might as well just make it this Pistons team. I kind of want to see how this defense is. I mean, with Pirtle, who's a really good defender, Asar Thompson and Cooper Flagg, that could be an insane matchup and a really fun one to play. We'll see what happens, but I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and you guys have been real great with your support, so thank you. I appreciate that, and hopefully we're at 700 subs before I upload this, or by the time I upload it, but we'll see. See you guys next time. Peace.